There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of a Nephilim.
The Genesis 6 narrative states that the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join me as we go on the trail of a Nephilim.
We're going to go over to Portugal today, and we're going to go to a site called Zambujeiro in Portugal. And I'll just talk about this. We might spend a few more days and some of the things and dolmens and structures that we found in Portugal, which I think you'll find absolutely fascinating. But first, a word from our sponsor, BioTrust. Folks, I'm taking collagen, and that's why I had that youthful appearance. So we'll get into this and so much more after a word from our sponsor, the good folks over at BioTrust.
Hey folks, listen to this. Studies show our mental health changes based on how many or how few wrinkles we have. Anti-aging companies prey on that. But many of their products don't work because they fail to target the root concerns that contribute to wrinkles. The true way to attack wrinkle concern is by going underneath the surface of the skin in ways that promote youthfulness. This is why I highly recommend taking multi-collagen. This amazing product helps restore your skin's youthfulness by getting to the root of the problem that causes wrinkles. It works because it's a health supplement, not an anti-aging serum. Your skin will look better than it has in years if you start taking multi-collagen. If you've been looking for a great way to improve your skin's health and youthfulness, you'll love the wonderful effects of taking collagen. Get up to 51% off for the next 24 hours only by going to healthwithla.com. That's www.healthwithla.com, or by visiting the link down below. Folks, this stuff really works. We just thank these guys for BioTrust for sponsoring us. And when you buy their products, you help keep us doing what we do here. So check it out, folks. Once again, www.healthwithla.com.
We're approaching 800 people at the Homeward Bound Conference, May 19th to the 22nd. I'll be speaking twice in the big room. Can't wait. It's our gathering of our tribe. You'll want to go there, folks. 888-722-0008. Think about coming there. I spend as much time as I can at my table, meeting folks, talking to folks, praying with folks, and we hope to see you there. I'll also be at the UFO Disclosure Symposium, May 27th to the 29th. I'll be speaking only on Sunday morning there, right after Jaime Maussan. That's going to be a real hoot. Hope to see you at one of these conferences. All right, so you're looking at an amazing site here, Zambujeiro, in Portugal. And there's some things that we discovered, and I have not gone public with this, and I won't, not yet. I'm kind of teasing you with some information. I can't go public with this yet because it's going to be one of our films on the trail of a Nephilim. But I digress. So here's the deal. Look at these stones. This entire area that you're seeing, you see Peggy, my wife, down below there? It gives you an idea how megalithic, how huge, cyclopean these stones are. Look, take a good look at them, folks. Look at that. And notice the way they're canted. All the way around, they're like canted like this. It's deliberate. And the entrance is to the right of the picture, and I'll show you that tomorrow because I want to stay at Zambujeiro. This whole area that you see was covered with dirt, a mound of dirt. And then over the entrance, which is on the top to the far left, it's out of the frame of the shot, there's this huge stone slab. So get this. So this archaeologist decades ago goes there and he's kind of scratching his head and he's going, and remember, this is just a big dirt hill. And he's kind of looking and he's kind of, this dirt hill seems out of place. Now there's oak trees growing on it. It's just exactly like what we see in the Americas. These sites are so old and they've been abandoned for so long, you'll get 30-inch round trees growing on some of these sites. Fort Ancient, the Great Circle Mound, the Octagon Mound. It's unbelievable. So he kind of looks at this thing and he starts probing around on the top of the mound and he finds this huge slab. He dynamites it because he can't move it. He dynamites the slab, and that opens up the beginnings of the exploration. They excavated this whole thing, and there we have the stone. So here's the story, and here's what I want to talk about today. So we're there at the site. Of course, our good friend Francisco Carrera is there. Peggy's there. Our cameraman Jessica Martinez is there. And there's this archaeologist who's also on the site. And we went at it. And I said, well, how do you think this was done? And of course, he gave us the narrative. Oh, they had oxen and beasts of burden, and they made mounds, and they moved all this stuff. And I'm going, what about the giants? And he immediately scoffed at that, right? Immediately scoffed on the idea of Nephilim and giants. Folks, what we're looking at here, who has time to do this back in the Neolithic? I mean, are you kidding me? You're hunter-gatherers, for crying out loud. Think about it. You're a hunter-gatherer. There's no refrigerator. There's no, Arby's roast beef thing down the street. There's no restaurants. It doesn't work that way. You're a hunter-gatherer. Even if you've got a city and you're building, little towns or whatever. You're growing things. You're an agrarian economy. You're hunting game. You're bringing the game back. You're learning to smoke it, to preserve it, making jerky. I mean, that's how people lived back in the Neolithic over 3,000 years ago. And, where's the evidence of this? Why don't you guys get together and just show us how you move this? How about that, right? Just show us how you move the dirt. Not buying it for a second. But of course, this particular archaeologist, is in an echo chamber. This is what he was taught. This is what he's going to parrot. Anything outside of that paradigm is nonsense, tomfoolery, poppycock, balderdash, horsepucky. Shall I continue or shall I just stop there? So it's amazing how mainstream archaeology insists that these mysterious people, they don't even know who built them, but they built it. Just like the pyramids. When you look at the pyramid in Egypt, Zawi Hawass, pyramid. The Egyptians built the pyramid. Not so fast, Zawi. The Egyptians had nothing to do with the pyramid. Thank you very much. So anyway, folks, this is Zambujeiro. It's absolutely incredible. And if you want to get into this, shameless plug, you can go to streaming.lamarzulli.net. There's the text right below. Streaming.lamarzulli.net, and binge watch them all. And I pray that you would do that, because that keeps the lights on here, and it keeps me, I know we've got interest in people. So CBN is finally catching up with where we were. I know I'm boasting. Please forgive me. Sorry. But CBN is finally catching up. We interviewed this gentleman, thanks to Bill Salas, by the way, who hooked us up with this guy. Basically, the story is this. So this man in Iran is living out in the boonies. It's like a 1 or 2 room hut, stone hut. And he hears a knock on his door one night. Who can that be? I live out in the middle of nowhere. There's this man in a white robe, and he says, can I come in? So the Iranian farmer guy lets him in, and he sits at the table and he goes, do you have paper and pencil? And the man goes, yes. He says, I want you to dictate what I'm writing. So this happens like night after night after night. And the man is speaking perfect Farsi. And what he dictates to the farmer, and the farmer goes to sleep. It's like, 2 a.m, he's still handwriting as the man in the white robe is dictating to him. And he goes to sleep, wakes up the next morning, wonders, what's going on here? Next night, exactly the same thing happens, right? Knock on the door, there's the man in the white robe, and they did this for a number of nights, right? So when they're all done, this guy has no idea what this story is, what this is. Word gets out to this pastor, who in our interview had to remain incognito. In fact, he had gloves, so people, because the Iranians will find this guy and they'll kill him. They don't want Christians in Iran. Why? Because of the mullahs. So he's risking everything. We disguised his face. We disguised his voice. You can find that. It's in Watchers 9. You can download it. Go to my website. It's an amazing interview. But so we interviewed him, disguised the voice, pixelated the face out. He's wearing clothes gloves on his hands, so you can't see his hands, that type of deal. And he tells us the story. Well, the pastor goes out, and sees this guy, gets and it's the entire book of John. It's the Gospel of John. Are you kidding me? There's a that is so supernatural. That's our God. God is on the move. There's no doubt about it. Let's move on to our UFO stuff. I am writing to tell you of a UFO sighting in late 1981, 82. This is what I call UFO brain fog. I'll preface this whole thing by talking about UFO brain fog. Okay, I am writing to tell you of a UFO sighting in late 81, early 82 by myself and my mother in Jacksonville, Florida, when I was 14/15 years old. It was early evening and my mother asked me to ride with her about 20 minutes from our house to go pay her JCPenney bill at the local mall. On the way out of our neighborhood, traveling south on North Main Street, I saw a bright stationary object and thought it was a helicopter, but it seemed too close to the ground and just above the streetlights. As we got closer, I rolled down the window and it made no noise. We drove almost directly under the spherical, metallic-looking object. UFO, anyone? My eyes were fixed on it, and I noticed 3 white lights that formed a pyramid shape underneath and at the bottom, if the pyramid shape was a little slit of a blue light like ultraviolet. I followed it with my eyes, even turning around in my seat as we slowly went by to see it glide over a neighborhood at treetop level. All of a sudden, it took off like a streak of light to the east. When we arrived home, there were 2 military helicopters flying over our house, like they were looking for something. My mom was trying to drive and we never spoke of it again. Always have wondered if anyone else has seen it. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about it. So she actually wrote me back, and basically she's going to talk to her mother about this. Folks, this is what I call UFO brain fog. You've seen something that's outside your paradigm. That's mind-boggling. You have nothing, to make this work in your grid system, and you don't talk about it. In our film, UFO Disclosure, shameless plug, but it's free, folks. By the way, 2 is basically done, so I'm going to hold to my promise. It will be right here on our YouTube channel very shortly. You can also buy the DVD if you want to, but once again, I digress. In that film, UFO Disclosure, The Coming Great Deception of Luciferian Endgame, in that film, there's several instances of people, which I show, and then talk about UFO brain fog. They've had a sighting. I'll never forget this one. These group of girls are coming back from a dance. There's about 10 or 12 of them packed into the station wagon. They see lights over the treetops. It looks like someone's mud running, but they get out of the car and it's not mud running. They get scared. They run back in the car. This woman who's giving a testimony is talking to her sister. Let's go, hurry up, let's get out of here. And then she says something. We were speeding, but we weren't going anywhere. We were speeding, but we weren't going anywhere. And when they get back to the foster mother, because they had a group of girls who were under foster care. When they got back to the foster mother, she was irate because they were 3 hours late. Missing time, anyone? And notice no one, we were speeding, but we weren't going anywhere. So she says that on camera, and she doesn't even realize what she's saying because she's so fogged out. Folks, these entities have the ability, literally, to mess with you in every way. They can alter your reality. They can shapeshift. My good friend and battle buddy Russ Dizdar talked about that Greek word metaskitsmonosai. They have the ability to appear as anything that they want to. It's absolutely incredible. Anyway, folks, why are they doing this? Why were those girls abducted? They're taking ovum. Maybe 1 or 2 of the girls, especially foster care, that's a red flag for me. 3 hours of missing time. Was ovum, were eggs taken from the woman? Very possible. Very possible. We'll never know. Anyway, folks, you can see the picture right there. What's the end game? Chuck Missler, in our interview with him. I believe it's Watchers 6 or 7. I think it's 7, where we interviewed Chuck, and Chuck says, I asked Chuck, well, what about the hybrids? And Chuck says, Satan's out number 2 to 1, he's making an army. Just like that, he says it. Satan's out number 2 to 1, making an army. There's the picture. This is what's going on. In the film, UFO Disclosure, and also in the book, we talk about hybrids, people seeing them, hybrids walking amongst us. It's real. It's happening. The church needs to wake up. The church absolutely needs to wake up. There's the film. If you open up a text box right underneath this and scroll down a little bit, free UFO film with the link. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll get into more about Zambujeiro tomorrow. Wow, it's Friday already. No tie Friday, but I'm not wearing ties anymore anyway. I'm following the footsteps of my good friend Mondo Gonzalez. But anyway, folks, thanks so much for watching On the Trail of a Nephilim. If you have a UFO sighting, if you've got video or pictures, if you have a testimony, give me a ring, will you? You know, shoot me an email, la@lamarzulli.net, la@lamarzulli.net. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, we'll see you on the air or in the air.
Matthews, I've seen a UFO.
I've seen a UFO.
And I saw a
And I saw a
UFO.
UFO.
A UFO.